we will start this this event, Al-Manal Forum, with this lovely workshop. I always enjoying with Mارتن Dobson. Márten Dobson is our guest today. He will present a mini workshop actually about Easyread. He has a very long experience about Easyread. And he established and he is managing a company in UK called Easyread Online, and we worked with Mr. Márten in our project for Easyread in SCHS. So I would like to remind you, everyone, that we have translation, and this session is recording, and you can ask your questions on the chat. You can write your questions on the chat, and if you need anything, you can raise your hand. But at the end of the session, usually in our actual events, we keep telling everyone and we keep informing everyone there is an emergency exit from here and from there, but in this event we don't have emergency exit, and we would love to have you till the end of this session. And please enjoy with the same link for the rest of the sessions and for the event which will take place tomorrow on 26th of May at 10 a.m. Mr. Márten, I'm very glad to have you again here. Mr. Márten, the mic for you. You have 2 hours. You can.
Mr. Muhammad.
Yes, Ms. Ola with us from the IT. Yes, yeah. Tell me.
Sorry, but I need to declare something.
Yeah.
For the English people. We have an option, it's interpretation option. You can find the icon down of the, or it's one of the tools down. This interpretation icon, if you press it, you have, I think, 5 options. You can go to English channel if you want to hear the English translation, or you can go to the Arabic channel to stay in Arabic. It's depend on the people who's talking right now. You can turn it off if you want to listen to the original voice. We have a Shahba company for translating with Mr. Bahir. Just confirm for us that it's working to start the forum. محمد فيك تأكد لي إنها شغالة. I think Mr. باهر هلا على قناة الإنجليش عربي sorry.
I think it's okay. أعتقد إنها شغالة بتهيألي، يعني أنا شغالة معي بتهيألي.
شغال استاذ علا، انا معاهم على القناتين والامور ان شاء الله شغاله كلها تمام.
ان شاء الله. Thank you so much.
Would you like to start, Mr. Márten? Maybe we can just do this.
Okay. Yeah. Can I just ask you how many people are here at the event?
Sorry, again.
Can I ask how many people are here at the event?
We have like around 64.
Oh, brilliant! That's excellent.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And the number is might increase actually. So.
Right. Should I introduce myself first of all?
I already did, but if you would like to do that again, please do that.
I'll briefly say that my name is Márten Dobson, and I set up a company called Easyread Online. And in the UK, we're one of the main organizations that produces Easyread documents, and we produce them for a lot for the government of the UK, but also for all sorts of other organizations, local councils, the BBC, rail companies, all sorts of different organizations, which I'll talk a little bit about.
الجهات الحكومية والخاصة بما يتعلق بهذا الموضوع. هل تريدون من التوقف من أجل الترجمة؟ لا، الترجمة ستكون فورية ويمكنك المتابعة بشكل طبيعي.
Okay, so I've got a presentation and I'm going to
لدي هذه الشرائح التي أريد أن أعرضها، وهنالك مجموعة من الأسئلة الموجودة في هذه الشرائح، ولنبدأ بالقراءة المبسطة. هل يمكنكم رؤية هذه الشرائح المعروضة؟ عرضي التقديمي يتعلق بالقراءة المبسطة، وأريد أن أغطي هذه المواضيع الموجودة أمامكم عن ما هي القراءة المبسطة ولماذا نريد هذا النوع من القراءة وكيف يتم استخدامها ومن هم المستخدمون لهذا النوع من القراءة المبسطة، من الذي يستخدمها ومن الذي يستفيد منها ويشتريها أو يستثمرها. سيكون هنالك الكثير من الصور التوضيحية التي تعرفنا بهذا النوع من القراءة وكيفية استخدامها في المؤتمرات. هذا ما وضعته ببالي في هذه العروض التقديمية. أيضا سأجيب في نهاية كل جلسة عن الأسئلة المتعلقة بها، وبالتالي سنبتدئ بماهية القراءة المبسطة، وهذه فكرة سهلة عنها. هي القدرة على توفير معلومات لأشخاص لديهم القدرة على الاستيعاب بطريقة طبيعية. إذن هي تتعلق بالاستيعاب أكثر من عملية القراءة بحد ذاتها، وهي تتعلق بأن يكون هنالك شخص يقوم بالقراءة لهؤلاء الأشخاص الذين تصعب عليهم عملية الاستيعاب. لذا عندما نتكلم عن القراءة المبسطة نحن نعني الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة، لكن بشكل عام القراءة المبسطة تسهل على الكثير من الناس، حتى الأشخاص الذين لا يمتلكون إعاقة معينة. إذا أعطي الخيار للناس أن يقرأوا مستندا معينا بالقراءة المبسطة أو القراءة العادية، فغالبية الناس سيعتمدون على القراءة المبسطة. هي عبارة عن عملية كتابة واضحة ومحددة لإيصال معلومات معينة. هنالك 3 عناصر أساسية في القراءة المبسطة. الأولى التي هي الكلمات المستخدمة، يجب أن تكون كلمات سهلة بسيطة، سنتحدث عنها بإسهاب لاحقا. هي كلمات تستخدم بشكل عام وبشكل يومي. نحن
I'm sorry for interrupting, Martin. I would like just to reconfirm again about the translation for everyone. So I will speak in Arabic. يا جماعة اللي بحاجة لترجمة، الترجمة متوفرة على الخيار اللي شكله كرة الأرضية، فموجود، فممكن تضغط عليه. في خيار أوف وفي عربي وفي لغة إنجليزية، فأنت فيك تختار حسب المتحدث ايش اللي انت بدك اياه، او بتطفي بتعمل اوف اذا بدك تطفي خيار الترجمه. فخيار الترجمه موجود للجميع. بس هذا اوكي. شكرا. ام سوري مارتن.
استاذي، وفي امكانيه كمان يعملوا الاوريجينال ساوند ميوت عشان مثلا عندهم تضارب في الصوت، يسمعوا بس العربي او الانجليزي لوحده، يعملوا ميوت للاوريجينال ساوند.
اوكي، فاعملوا ميوت للاوريجينال ساوند مثل ما قالوا لكم. تمام. بس هذا هو عشان ما يصير عندكم تضارب. Thank you, Martin. I'm really sorry for interrupting. I'm really sorry.
That's all right. Okay. Yeah. Is everything okay? Yes. It's.
Yeah. Yes. Everything is all right now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 3 main elements of EasyRead are.
إن العناصر الأساسية.
Are text in easy language.
صوتي صار واضح.
مستر بحر ممكن تسكر المايك عندك.
Yeah.
Mr. Bahar. Oh yes. I'm sorry. There was interruption. I'm sorry again.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So the 3 main elements is this text in easy language. There are pictures that help people understand the text. So you can see on the left-hand side we have drawings, and the drawings relate to the text there. And a very clear layout. So headings at the top of the page, lots of space, so that it's very clear. The layout can really help people to understand the text. But we'll go into that in more detail shortly. So has anybody got any questions about what Easyread, the very basics of Easyread. Any questions at this point about Easyread? No.
No questions.
No questions. I'll carry on. Right. So why do we have Easyread? I should say that Easyread is a way of doing this. It's a separate kind of way of writing, and it's often treated as a separate thing. So people will produce some information, a report or some leaflet or a bit of an information, and then they'll produce an Easyread version of that, which is what our job is. We produce the Easyread version of that complex information, complicated information. So this is why I have Easyread. So you have Easyread to communicate information to people who wouldn't normally get that information, I suppose, really, to people who would find it difficult to understand things if it wasn't for Easyread. You produce Easyread so that people have choices and they can choose what they want to do or they want to think. You know, they can have their own mind and think things for themselves. If they get the information, they can have more choices about what they want to do. And we do that so that people can have more control over their lives. And hopefully they'll become happier people because of that, but also because they're doing things that they want to do and they're not being, you know, disruptive and complaining about things in other ways. So Easyread is part of a way of helping people to have better lives, more interesting lives, lives that they want to lead. And it really helps with that. And essentially so that people can do more for themselves. So the people are learning more skills, they can do more for themselves, they're getting information so they can make more choices and have more control over what they do. So Easyread feeds into that. And it means that obviously that the state and services don't have to spend so much time and money supporting people because people can do more for themselves. So it helps organizations and governments to enable people to live independent lives more by themselves. So in the UK, where I live, there has been for 50 years or so a policy of, well, it's called community care. Prior to that, people with learning disabilities may have been living in more sometimes big hospitals, sometimes big institutions, but very much more controlled and looked after by the state. And for the last 50 years, people have been moving away from those and living in ordinary homes in the community, in local communities, and being more responsible for themselves and doing more things for themselves and fitting in with local activities and local things. And it means that they've got more choice and control over what they do with their lives and how they live their lives, and they can be more themselves as a person. So Easyread fits into these things very well because it helps those people to understand more about what is happening and being able to choose things more for themselves. There's been a move over the last 30 years or so for something called advocacy, and within learning disabilities world, advocacy is about, well, it's about two things. One is about people having someone to help them speak for themselves, or it's people speaking up for themselves. I'll talk a bit about more of that in a minute. And more recently, all services in the UK have been doing a lot of what we call consultation. So they're asking people who use the services what they think about things. And we in our company do a lot of Easyread consultation documents. We produce lots of questionnaires for people with learning disabilities to say what they think about a service or some issues that they think about. And so and it's a way, I think, of services getting things right, really, is they're asking what it is that people want and being able to produce that. Also in the UK, we have some laws which I think back up Easyreads. So we have a law which is called the Equalities Act 2010, and that's a large act of a government act law which says that disabled people have to be treated in a similar way to people who are non-disabled. It goes into a lot of detail, but one of the major things is something called reasonable adjustments, which means that if you have a disability, if somebody comes to you in your service or your business with a disability, you have to make whatever adjustments are needed so that that person can take part in your service and your business the same as anybody else, so long as it's reasonable. So it might be you have to put a ramp in so that they can get their wheelchair through the door, make larger doors or something like that. If it's reasonable, if it's something that's unreasonable, would be something that's very, very expensive. But smaller things, you are supposed to do those things. And for people with learning disabilities, people who have difficulty understanding words and meanings of words, then Easyread becomes a reasonable adjustment. And Easyread is reasonable because it's fairly cheap to do. It's not a very expensive thing to do. So under the law, as it is, the service only has to provide the reasonable adjustments if the disabled person asks for them, but increasingly the services are providing them even before they've been asked for, because they know they're going to be asked for. I'll just talk about these in a bit more detail now. So with community care, people have been living more independently. And what that means is that people living in the community in their own flat or their own house with their own support worker, like this chap here. So then they are not just dependent on one service, but they depend on all those services like all of us are. So they're dependent on the local bus service, the local police service, the local health services. So they're the same way as the rest of us, we rely on the whole of society to support us, to keep us doing things. And so disabled people are like that. So all these different organizations now are getting, are linking with people with learning disabilities, and maybe they have to produce some information in Easyread as well, which is what's happening. So these other organizations need to be accessible to people with learning disabilities. So choice and control. Choice is a key right for people. People have to choose what they want for themselves, making their own choices. It's important for self-esteem, helps people feel better about themselves if they could choose things. Everything is just handed to you on a plate. You kind of lose your own self. So it's choice is really important, but you need to have information of all the different options before you can make a choice. So this is where Easyread comes in. It provides you that information so that you can make your choices. And when we talk about control, it's talking about control over their service and control over your support staff. So the support staff on the service is there to serve you as an individual. You're supposed to be able to, we want people to be able to say what they want, so that the service is providing them with what they want. It's not there for the benefit of the service, it's there for the benefit of the disabled person. So with advocacy, it was about helping people to speak up at meetings and say what they want. So often the key decisions for a disabled person is made at a meeting. There'll be social workers and health workers, parents and teachers come together and decide what's best for the disabled person. And sometimes that's very daunting. So advocacy is somebody who's independent, who's helping that person to speak up for themselves. They're not representing a service or an organization, they're just there to help the person. And that's an increasing thing in the UK, but there's also has been in the UK things for self-advocacy groups, where our groups of people with learning disabilities who support each other to get the confidence to speak up. And I spent 10 years working for a group like that, where we were encouraging people and helping people and supporting them to speak up for themselves and have opinions and to express those opinions to people. And I think Easyread has come out of these self-advocacy groups as much as anything else, because there's been the demand for information, because they need information to be able to talk to people. And back in the 1990s, when I was started working in these organizations, then the authorities would come to those organizations, the self-advocacy groups, to find out what people with learning disabilities wanted and what they thought about things. And that was how we started creating Easyread, I suppose, and Easyread versions of more complex information. And it's the self-advocacy groups that are the ones within the learning disability world that are campaigning for rights for disabled people, for learning disabled people. And so again, the Easyread fits into that. It's the campaigning for more Easyread information. At the moment, that's where the push is coming from for Easyread, is from these sorts of self-advocacy groups, campaigning groups. So we just talked a bit about consultation. So the larger organizations like the local councils and the government, but all sorts of health services and all sorts of other services, we're doing a lot for like train and transport services at the moment, of asking people what they think about those services, asking disabled people how to make those services better. So at the moment, I've been doing it yesterday, some work for a train company that is encouraging learning disabled people to be able to use the train. So they're trying to find out how they need to change their train service so that learning disabled people feel confident about using the trains. So we were producing some Easyread information for them to do that with. And throughout all the different services, this is happening, and it's important. And the Easyread aspect of it is very important, so that it's giving people the information and enabling people to respond in an Easyread way. So it's about asking people what they think about a policy, a plan, or a service. It's about making sure that the service is right for people. And I think it's particularly key for public services, so services, government and local council services, who are there to really to help the most vulnerable people, the people who need their services the most. So it's about checking with them to make sure that you're getting those services right, not just assuming what people want. So in the UK, it's all backed up by the law, the Equalities Act, which we talked about, and the reasonable adjustment. So Easyread information is a reasonable adjustment. It's a thing that is a reasonable thing for an organisation to do, is to provide their information in a way that people can understand it. That's now recognised in the law. So companies and organisations really should do it. And now the government is producing Easyread information before it's requested. So that's a change that I've felt has happened over the last year, really. I'm just going to show you an example here. This is part of the UK government website, and it's the information that the government has produced about COVID-19 in the spring of 2021. So it's produced, and these are documents, and you click on these documents to get the information about the rules and regulations for being safe around COVID. And here is the Easyread version here. So they've got the complex information here. They've got some in large print here for people who maybe have poor eyesight, I guess. And there's a summary in large print. And then there's the Easyread, that's the one we did there. That's our document. But they've also put it in different languages as well, because in the UK, a lot of different languages are spoken. So Arabic is first, Bengali, Farsi, Gujarati, Hindi, Polish. And so Welsh there. and this is now typical that whenever a government produces information, it's producing a range of information in different formats for different people, because it's important. If you're going to get the information out there to produce it, an easy read is definitely one of the key ones of those now. That's a new thing. So that's my section on why have easy read. I just wondered if there's any questions at this point. Anybody got any questions? Please shout up if there is. No. It's very difficult because I haven't got a sense of what people are, how people are relating to this, but no.
There is no questions now, Martin. We can keep the questions till the end of the session.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if anybody has any questions, I think, is there a chat? People could use the chat thing to.
Yes. I told him that. هشام ممكن تسكر المايك عندك؟ Okay. Yes, Martin. Yeah, we can keep the questions till the end, and if we have any questions on the chat, I will give it to you directly.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. I'll carry on then.
Yeah.
So, how is Easy Read used? So what happens to your Easy Read documents? So people with learning disabilities, it covers a wide range of ability, I think. Some people can read the documents for themselves. If the language is easy and the print is large and there aren't many complicated words, some people will be able to read the document themselves. Some people would find that too difficult and would have a parent or a carer or support worker to read it out to them. We're finding now these days mostly that the Easy Read documents just stay online, so people will read it from a screen. Now, it may be a computer screen, it may be a tablet, an iPad tablet, or sometimes even a phone, one of the larger phones, although they can be quite small on those. Or sometimes it is printed out, but we're finding that they're not very often these days printed, like commercially printed, that the organization will produce it online. And if you have somebody who needs it printed on paper, the support worker would print it out locally in their home or in their service. Yeah, here we go. That's what I was saying. Some people print it out. Sometimes it's commercially printed, but not so much these days, I'm finding. Sometimes it's viewed on a phone or an iPad. If it's printed, it'll be printed locally by the support worker on the local printer. So who uses Easy Read? So we produce it for people with a learning difficulty, but we also know that it's used a lot by people with mental health problems, people with low literacy, so people who just for one reason or another didn't do very well at school and have got a very poor reading ability. In the UK, there's quite a lot of people like that, and I guess there are in every country. That they're not got a learning difficulty or learning disability, but they haven't really grasped the language too well, or the reading language too well. And so it kind of covers people with dyslexia and a few other dyspraxia. There's a few kind of mental conditions that come into that. Also, it's used a lot by people who have English as a second language in the UK. So we have quite a lot of people who English isn't their first language, so have some difficulty in reading more complicated English. So the Easy Read is perfect for them. But also we're discovering that a lot of the general public prefer the Easy Read document to the more complicated document, and you can get the key information from that quite quickly, whereas the more complicated document can take you a long time to read. So who commissions Easyread? So who pays for it? So we're a professional Easyread company, and that's our day job, is to produce Easyread documents. So we do a lot for the government, and they're providing information to the general public. So that the information that we do for them is usually for the general public. Sometimes it's about specific services for people with learning disabilities, but often it is just for the general public. Like, so the information in the middle document there, which is like moving out of lockdown, out of the COVID situation, that was just an Easyread version of information given to the general public. Local councils, we do a lot for local councils. In the UK, the local councils run the social services or pay for social services and social care for people, and so they produce, they will request a lot of Easyread documents or produce them themselves, I think. We do a lot for health services. Obviously, everybody needs health services, and the more people understand, have good information about health, the better they can manage their own health. And so we produce a lot of information about health services and health conditions, I guess. So in the UK, a lot of services now are provided by companies, and not just the sort of parts of the government, but companies who are doing it for money. So we're getting a lot of requests for Easyread documents from those companies. But as people are moving into the community, we're producing a lot of Easyread documents for all sorts of other organisations that provide services to people, like transport. So we're doing a lot for the rail yesterday, but we do it for buses. I put cars in there because we have a scheme where disabled people in the UK can have a car that's arranged for them. And the organisation that runs that, called Motability in the UK, we've done Easyread documents for them quite a bit recently. We're getting increasingly sorry, I'll just go back again. Large infrastructure schemes, so large development. So if there's going to be a big new road built somewhere, which means knocking down some houses or some buildings, or digging up fields and things, we may get, and there's a big planning thing, and people are being asked to say what they think about this scheme, we might get asked to produce Easyread documents for that. In the UK at the moment, there's a new railway lines being built called HS2, high-speed railway lines. And we've been doing a lot of Easyread documents for that. So we've also been doing a lot for the arts. So things like theatres and concerts. So sometimes it's because for groups of disabled people who are making theatre or making music, and they are either recruiting people wanting to talk about their own work or things like that. So we've been doing Easyread documents for those, but also like for dance theatres and competitions, or applying for money to be a musician or an artist or something like that. We've been doing a lot for sports recently. So a lot of there's a lot of disability sports in the UK. Most of the major football clubs have their own disability sports teams, disability football teams, and we've been doing Easyread documents for those. All sorts of things like the regulations in terms of keeping people safe whilst they're in the sports club, and all sorts of things like that, as well as just general information about the team. I said applying for funding seems to be one we've been doing. If a fund of money in the UK, there's something called the National Lottery, which is like a I don't know, it's where you buy tickets and somebody wins a big prize, but they give a lot of money to organizations maybe that support people with learning disabilities. So they're producing their information also in Easy Read so that people with learning disabilities can have a say in what their funding is spent on. Housing. Yeah, we do a lot of Easy Read about housing, so big housing schemes, rented housing, landlords of rented houses. We've been doing a lot for the police as well. So obviously people with learning disabilities get into trouble with the police, and that causes all sorts of issues. And so the police are beginning to recognise that they need to provide information about what happens to you if you're stopped by the police, and if you have to get taken to the police station and questioned and things like that. So they're producing that sort of information in Easy Read so that people have a chance to be aware of what is happening to them, and can, makes all that a lot easier and less stressful for everybody, I think. Similarly, the laws and the courts as well. So obviously people with learning disabilities get into trouble and can get into courts. And we've been doing some Easy Read documents for a prison recently, because they realised that a large number of the people in the prison had very poor reading and writing and weren't able to read some of the basic information, and that's causing problems within the prison. So producing a lot of information in Easy Read is a way of keeping things calm and manageable in the prison. Campaigns as well, political campaigns. So we produce quite a bit of Easy Read information for organisations that are campaigning to change government policy about things. And we have political parties in the UK which stand for election, and when there's elections, they produce all their election material in Easy Read as well, so that because everybody gets a vote and everybody can have their say in things. So there's a whole range of different organisations now, and this is really just happening over the last few years. These organisations are realising that they need to engage with people with learning disabilities, and people with learning disabilities will want to have information so that they can make choices and have a say and understand what's happening to them in many cases. And it means that people with learning disabilities can be more involved in their local communities and their local society and have a richer life and do a lot more for themselves, and so depend on services a lot less. And so it becomes a bit easier for the governments in terms of funding their services, because they're getting supported by everybody else. So I'm now going to move on to writing Easy Read, how we actually produce Easy Read documents. So the key thing is in the writing of it, the text, which is the first thing that we do. It's what we call is plain language. It's easy words, easy language. It's the when I do it, I think of the language that you would use when you were talking to somebody. So I have in my mind somebody with learning disabilities. If I was writing an Easy Read document, how I would explain this to someone with a learning disability. So it's the language that you use when you're talking to somebody. In the UK, in English language, the way most people write is more complicated than the way that they speak if they were speaking to a friend or an acquaintance. So it's the way you speak, the way you talk. So I would use the words like you and this and him and her and things like that a lot more in that. So it's important to have short sentences, which is not the way you normally write things, but keep things very short, simple sentences. It makes it a lot easier for people to understand. We avoid complicated words, but you have to have complicated words. So in this example here, COVID-19, that's a complicated word really, but it's important within the context of this document that you use the word COVID-19. So what you do is you have an explanation of it. So the government is working to keep people safe from COVID-19. COVID-19 is a new illness. This is the explanation. It's a new illness that's spreading around the world. It can affect your lungs and breathing. So it's okay to use complicated words if you need to. I would use them sparsely. So I'd have to think, is this complicated word essential for the whole document? If you're only using it once in a long document, it's probably not essential, and there may be another way of explaining that point. But if the document is about that word, about that concept, then it's worth explaining it and putting it in and having an explanation of it. I hope I've explained that well enough. So an abbreviation, so I've put avoid abbreviations. An abbreviation is where you use like some letters instead of words. So for instance, the BBC stands for British Broadcasting Corporation. So BBC is an abbreviation. So it's okay to have abbreviations, but again, you need to have an explanation of it. I mean, some abbreviations are very well known. In the English language in England, NHS stands for National Health Service, but everybody knows the NHS is the health service, so it's kind of very well known. I would use that, but other abbreviations are less common and you might want to avoid them, but sometimes you have to use them, and if you have to use them, then you need to put an explanation of them. Jargon, it says avoid jargon, and jargon is each type of work has its own complicated language that you use just in that type of work. In social care, there is some jargon. In education, there's jargon. It's words that are only used within that context and have particular meanings within that context. So you have to be aware of these, and that someone with learning disabilities may not understand that. So if you do use some jargon word, particularly if it's a word that is used in a different way in the general speaking than it is in a specific context. So if you do that, you need to write a short explanation. Bullet points are good, like this, because it's kind of like note form. People with learning disabilities like that. It helps them to see how it all fits together. So this is a kind of one long sentence in a way, but it's split up into bullet points, and that's good. It helps people to understand that. I think using headings and subheadings is helpful to make it clear what you are talking about and spacing it out, so you can say this is about buying your home and land. This is actually from one of those large railway schemes that are building the railway. So they are saying that this is a document that's saying that if your home is very close to the new railway line, then they'll either give you cash for it or they'll buy it off you, your house. So so it's explaining the different sections. Has got a subheading there that helps people to understand that how the document is put together, the different bits of the document like that. Okay, are we okay? Is everybody okay? It's very difficult to know how people are reacting to this. Are we? If there's any questions come up.
Everything is perfect, Martin. There is no questions.
All right.
No.
Okay, I'll go on to adding pictures.
Okay.
So the convention in EasyRead is to use one picture for each paragraph. So a paragraph can be quite short, really, shorter than it would be in ordinary writing. You would just have one sentence or maybe two sentences in a paragraph. So So the picture, the idea of the picture is to help the person to understand the meaning of the words in the paragraph. So that's what I hope these pictures are doing in a way here. If you're using photographs, it's really good to cut out the background of photographs. Can you see how the background has been cut out there? And that helps you to focus on the bits of the photo that explain the text. And because a lot of the background is can be confusing, or can make you think of something very specific, which is not necessarily relevant to the image. So if you're using photographs, I would strongly recommend cutting out the backgrounds of them. There are various tools you can get to do that. We also use drawings for pictures. In our organization, we have a graphic designer that does these drawings for us. But you can get a lot of drawings, obviously, from the internet as well. We get our photographs from the internet. And when I did the training, I did provide some websites of companies that produce lots of photos, which we use quite a bit. It's not very difficult to Google and find photographs on the internet that you can use. Obviously, you've got to be aware that some photographs have got a copyright on them, and so you may or may not want to break that copyright or produce your own photographs. Sometimes it's good to produce your own photographs, I think. So we try and make sure that our images reflect the local community in terms of different types of people. So in the UK, there's quite a range of people from all different ethnic backgrounds in the local communities. So we try to make sure that we reflect those in our work. We try to avoid gender stereotypes and disability and religious stereotypes. So we try to have a range of people all looking very positive. So we portray disabled people particularly in a very positive light, I would say, almost entirely. I think that's quite important. So the layout of pictures, layout of documents is really important. So the important thing is to have a lot of white space so that it's not cluttered. If it was cluttered, someone with learning disabilities would find it very difficult, but also daunting to look at. It wouldn't interest them. But if there's a lot of white space, they would more likely to want to pick it up and be engaged with the document, I guess. So in English, we have the pictures on the left and the text on the right. I think in Arabic, it's the other way around. So we've produced, this is some which we produce for the government here.
هذه الصورة أمامكم.
We prepare documents in all sorts of different languages. Even if we don't understand the language, we can still produce the document in it. It's good to have the headings at the top of the page. So if we did have a main heading, we would always put it at the top of the page. Usually it was about 5 or 6 pictures on each page. This one's got 4 actually, and it does look like it's a well laid out page. But I wouldn't have a lot more pictures than that. Sometimes we do, and we try and arrange it so that it looks good. But it can be very confusing if you have a lot of, try to put too much on a page. Most of our documents, we like to have a front cover so that it's very clear what this document is about. If it's a very short document, you maybe not need a front cover, but if it's 10 pages or more, I think it should have a front cover so that it's very clear that this is a document about this, and you know, it's got something to start off with. I like having contents pages. It helps somebody understand what the structure of the document, I guess, and how the document is put together. Particularly if it's more than 10 pages, I think it should have a contents page. So we're getting to the end now. So checking your EasyRead document. It's important to make sure that your documents are good for people with learning disabilities. So we get our documents checked by a group of people with learning disabilities. So we're producing documents for the government. So we will get them checked by our local group of people with learning disabilities, who will tell us what they think about the text and about the pictures. And they're very fussy, actually, and they will make us change things. So, but we learn a lot from that. So it's really helpful to do that. And I would recommend that anybody producing EasyRead documents has a group of people with learning disabilities to check at least some of their documents from time to time, to check that the way that they're working is actually good for people, because that's the key thing, really. It's not about making a document that looks nice, it's about actually something that is useful to someone with a learning disability. So ours, the one we use, they don't work with us. Most organisations that produce EasyRead in the UK are also organisations that support people with learning disabilities. But we don't. We just produce EasyRead documents. So we work with a independent group in the town where I live, and they can say what they like about our documents. It doesn't matter to them, and we'll learn from that. So I'm thinking about, just to finish up, I'm thinking about how to set up EasyRead within your organisation. I think it's important to get some appropriate images so that people can use them. So if you're an organisation and you're thinking about how am I going to get EasyRead set up, you might want to collect a whole load of images. We have a picture bank of about 6,000 photos like this one here that we've collected from either a commercial stock photo company, and we may well have cut out the background ourselves, or there's a company called Photo Symbols, which I can put the links to if you like, who produce pictures, actually produce this picture for people with people with learning disabilities. So they're the best pictures I know in the UK of people with learning disabilities. However, the pictures that I use are suitable for the UK and the culture of the UK and the sorts of people we have in the UK. And within your countries, there may well be a need to have people in different, who look like they come from your country a bit more. So it might be worth building up a bank of pictures that you can use, or the staff in your organisations can use to create EasyRead documents. That's what I'm suggesting. So we've got a Dropbox account where we keep all these pictures, and the people in our company, there's about 5 of us now, can access these pictures online from the Dropbox account and use them to put into the documents that they're working on. I think it's important to have training for staff in writing EasyRead and producing EasyRead so that they understand it and they can know what it's about and understand how to make it. We're obviously a professional EasyRead company, and a lot of what I've been talking about is the work that we do as a profession for governments and for organisations. But actually the vast majority of EasyRead is done by support workers in centres, in services for the people that they support, and they'll do it themselves. And it'll be a little bit more amateur maybe than the way we work, but it's perfectly valid and just perfect for the needs that they have. And it's those people that need a little bit of training about how to quickly produce an EasyRead document for the people that they're working with, using Word or any writing program. I think it's important that if you can to recruit and train a group of disabled people who can check your documents. I mean, it works out to be quite a good activity for people, and it's like a little business that they do. I mean, we pay the company that does it for us, so they you know, have got money for extra things that they want to do, which is great for them. It's important to get support from the management of your organization so that the managers see the need for Easyread and see the need for putting in place ways of writing like that. Okay, that's my last slide. That's the end of my presentation. It's gone on for an hour. We've got another hour, I think, in this slot. So if people have got any questions, I'm more than happy to...
Yeah, I think we have some questions now. Before starting the questions, actually, I would like to thank you for this amazing workshop first, and I would like to confirm again that Mr. Martin will be our guest for tomorrow during the forum to talk about the Easyread in SCHS, because Mr. Martin was main partner. He is the main partner with us in this project, and we worked and we achieved a lot of things that will help people in Arab world to create the Easyread document in Arabic, actually. So now I will start taking the questions, and Mr. Martin maybe will answer it now. راح اخذ الان الاسئله، فبتمنى انه كل حد عنده سؤال ممكن يكتبه مباشره، او ممكن يعني يكتبه في الشات، او يكتبه في الجزء اللي مكتوب فيه Q&A. تمام؟ Okay. So we have many questions. Shall I give you one by one and you will answer each one, or I'll give you all of them?
Yeah, no, not all of them.
Okay. The first question was from Miss Fatuma Awali, I think. This is her name, I believe. Is it good for using board maker pictures with autism children?
Right. Okay. Board maker, that's for people who have a board and press different pictures, don't they, to things. I think we're a different thing to that. We're different to that. We produce information. So board maker is a way for someone a disabled person who has no speech to be able to communicate by pressing buttons on a big screen, I think, isn't it? So we're different to that. We produce information that people can consume. So those people might well appreciate a Easyread information, but we don't use any of those systems really. No.
Okay. We have another question from Mr. Rafat Azitawi. It's in Arabic. Wait a minute, let me translate that. Okay, I will ask it in Arabic, Martin, and you can maybe listen to the translation. Okay. السؤال بالعربي.
To take into consideration the privacy of Arabic language in designing documents. And thank you.
That how we can consider the Arabic language in designing the Easyread. Mr. Rafat was part of our work.
So the specifications of Arabic language, how can you take into consideration the specification?
So I believe that we worked on the standards, the Arabic standards, and we will launch the Arabic standards tomorrow during the forum. So that will be that will answer the question, right?
Yeah.
So أستاذ رأفت ممكن بكره يكون عندك يكون تابعنا
Mr. Rafat, tomorrow during the forum you
المعايير راح نطلق المعايير العربيه لتصميم الوثائق بالقراءه بطريقه القراءه المبسطه، واللي تكون موجودة لكل الناس بحيث إنكم تقدروا تعملوا وثائق القراءة المبسطة بنفسكم باللغة العربية. Okay, there is another question from Miss Yusra Abdelaziz. Good morning. Do you have a guidebook for Easy Read? Is it available for us? I think this is the same. I think I answered that, and Mr. Martin answered that as well. You have in your website also standards in English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can send you links of some others as well. There are various guides to Easy Read in the UK.
Okay.
Which I can send you links to.
So if you can send it on the chat, Martin, I will be really thankful, because our participants now are 121 participants. So if you can send it on the chat, will be great. Okay. So yeah, we have standards in English on the website of Easy Read Online UK that Mr. Martin will share it with us on the chat. And also we will launch tomorrow the Arabic standards for Easy Read. راح أعيد بالعربي. إحنا في عندنا معايير باللغة الإنجليزية موجودة على موقع Easy Read Online. راح يوفر لنا إياها مستر مارتن على الشات. هلا أعتقد هو وفرها. وبكرة راح نطلق المعايير العربية لوثائق القراءة المبسطة. Okay. Now, Martin, I will ask the questions in Arabic if you turn on the translation for yourself. Okay. هل يمكن تبسيط القراءة المبسطة بدمج الصورة إذا كانت على الأدوات الإلكترونية؟ أنا ما فهمتش السؤال، مش عارف إذا كان فيك توضح لنا أستاذ هشام أكثر. مستر الحسين أبو شقير، هل ممكن أن تطلعنا على مواقع وتطبيقات نستخرج منها الصور أو التصميمات الخاصة بالصور؟ Okay, we have two questions. The first question, Martin, I really didn't understand what is it. Okay, but the second question is, he is asking about the applications and the website which he can use it to get more pictures or designs for the pictures.
Okay, we use, I could put some in the chat, couldn't I? The ones that we use mostly.
Okay, so you will share some links for the pictures as well. Okay, سيد حسين راح يشارك معنا الآن مستر مارتن مجموعة من الروابط اللي عن اللي ممكن استخدامها في استخراج الصور. Okay. طيب راح أخذ الأسئلة من الشات. I will take the questions from the chat. We have two questions. The pictures must be cartoons or photographs.
Either, doesn't matter.
We can use both of them. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
نقدر نستخدم الاثنين. ممكن تكون الصور إلكترونية وممكن تكون الصور فوتوغرافية. Okay, Miss Yasmin Al-Qaddoumi, I think she is a self-advocate. Yes, she is a self-advocate. She is asking, what do you think about the Easy Read in the future? What will happen for the Easy Read in the future? Do you think that we will get more?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I don't really know. I think there'll be more I think there'll be more. I think it will become more regular that there is an Easy Read version for documents. I think certainly in the UK it is becoming more popular. The amount of work our little organisation has tripled in the last year, which means we're very busy at the moment, and we've had to take on more staff, which is good. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I think there will always be demand for the very complicated information because some people want that, but people are recognizing that they need to produce an easy version of quite a lot of different information. And I think it might grow even more. That's my thing. Yeah.
I think also the Corona taught us the lesson that we need to take care of everyone, and we need to tell everyone about the information, and we need to keep everyone updated about what is happening around us. So we learned the lesson in a way that we need to make the information accessible for everyone, which is really important actually. Thanks for Corona.
Yes.
This is one of the advantages of the Corona. طيب. There are two questions from Mr. Muhammad Ziyara. Is simplify reading or easy reading, have we focused on picture or simple sentences?
I think simple sentences is the key. We always start with a text and create a easy text, and then we find the images to fit in with the text. It takes us a while to get the text right. It's not always very simple, and we may have to do 2 or 3 edits of the text before we feel like we have it right. And even then, so in our organization, somebody writes the text and then somebody else will check over it and maybe edit it for them. So it's, having a fresh eyes on it is something,
I keep saying that it's not easy to create an easy read.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but it's we need to work on it. Yeah. So there is another question from Miss Aline, I believe. Is there any audio devices, CD, DVDs, planned to be joined to the books?
Right. I don't know. So I think, is that talking about the books that you were talking about? You were talking about books in your literature for this training here. So the work that I do is largely now producing documents online as a PDF that people attach to their websites. And if you are consuming those with a computer or a tablet or a phone, there's often a way to get the machine to read out the text of the documents. So I think that's taken the place of any CDs or DVDs that there may have been in the past.
Okay. All right. So I hope that we are answering the questions. If we don't answer the questions, please let us know that we can try to answer it in a different way. مس زينب، كيف الوصول إلى مستند القراءة المبسطة المترجم باللغة العربية عن COVID-19 الذي أشرت حضرتك إليه في العرض. She is asking about the document about COVID-19 which you mentioned in your presentation. I think it's available on your website, right? The Easyread online.
It might be, yes.
Yeah, so if you can go to the Easyread online .com, right? .com or .uk?
Yeah, .co.uk.
Yeah,
.co.uk.
go.uk. So please go to that website, and then you can check the documents there. It's in Arabic, right? It's available in Arabic, right?
Maybe, yeah. There were some government ones we did that were in Arabic.
Yeah, I think I think the Arabic one, the Arabic version is not available in your website. But if it's available in your website, please, if not available, upload it.
Yeah.
Please. Okay, Mr. Hisham is asking the question again, which I'm trying to. Okay. He is asking that if we can make the Easyread audiobook also at the same time, which means that we can make the sound will connect it to the Easyread document. I don't know if I can ask the a question in the right way.
Well, I think so. If that, are you producing some booklets, Mohammed, in your organisation, some books in Easyread? Is that what you're planning to do? It sounded like you're going to print some books to me.
That in the future, yes, we are planning to do that. But Mr. Hisham is asking now. The question is, can we add the voice to the Easyread document on the, when we use it online or something like this?
So I think there's a way, I think you can get your computer to read out the text if you, I think there's a way to do that on many computers.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think that happens for learning disabled people, that it's set up to read things out. There is on my computer, and I can't remember how to do it because I remember stopping it because it was annoying me.
Yeah, the technology actually is really advanced. Actually, we can blind people usually now they are depending on their iPhones and their iPads or the tablets more than the braille actually. So it's really important.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Al-Hussein is saying that I'll read it in Arabic. أعتقد بأن الأفضل أن تقوم كل مؤسسة بتحديد المجالات الخاصة بها والتي من الممكن أن تصمم بطريقة القراءة المبسطة حتى يتم مشاركتها مع المهتمين من ذوي الإعاقة. If I understood well, if I understand this comment very well, I think Mr. Al-Hussein is saying that it's better if each organization can work in the documents which are related to their work or to their field, and then we can share it with people with disabilities. I think it's a good point, I believe.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Yeah.
And Mr. Rashid,
I think it's really good to be able to share Easyread documents. So I just wanted to bring out that we set up a Facebook group. I don't know if you do Facebook in UAE, but
we do Facebook. We do have Facebook, but it's not our first social media tool, to be honest with you. The Instagram is there, but also our website is on our website will be available the projects which got produced from the workshops, and we need people to go through the documents on our website, which will be available tomorrow, inshallah. And maybe they can use it in their organizations, and maybe they can tell us their feedback about it. Then we can evaluate it together.
So we set up, and it might be worth you doing this within, because ours is obviously English language. So a Facebook group where there's something like 3,000 people on it now, and they share information about Easyread. So if they've produced a good Easyread document, they will post it on the Easyread Facebook group, and all the people involved in it are interested in Easyread. So it'll be shared with amongst people. Or if they've got a question and they say, has anybody got an Easyread information about this? It's usually a complicated medical procedure. Somebody will answer and say, yeah, we know where there's one, here it is, here's the link, or something like that. It works really well. It's been going very well. I moderate it so that I check that there's no malicious information going on there. Every day I'll have a look to see, but it hasn't been a problem. It's been very well used, very well respected. It's gone very, very well there. And I think it's worth doing that. It's worth sharing things so everybody can use it.
Okay. Mr. Rashid Ali, he said that if you can evaluate the documents which they applied during the workshops. Actually, Mr. Rashid, we already sent the documents to Mr. Martin, and we shared some. We got some comments from him and from Dr. Suzanne as well, but I don't know. I'm not sure in which workshop you participate, my workshop or Mr. Martin workshop. But anyway, the documents are available now on the website, and I will maybe I will organize with you, or maybe I will ask you, Mr. Martin, to check some few documents, and then we can give us some feedback to Ms. Khawla. Okay, طيب, and we can get the feedback, and then we can give it to the participants. Okay, this is something that we can organize it later with Mr. Martin. Okay, do we have more questions? Do we have more questions? Okay, so we don't have more questions, but I do have some questions. Sheikha Jamila, do you have a question?
No, thank you. I just joined, and I want to say thank you to Mr. Dobson and everyone who's attending.
Thank you, Sheikha. Thank you, Sheikha. Mr. Martin, I would like to use this time to ask you some few questions actually about Easyread also. Maybe you can help us more. So do you think that Easyread, we need to use it with persons who have reading skills, or we can use the picture, we can use it like a picture book, for example, if this is the right word to use it. Yeah. So what do you think?
So I think that quite often it's some people will read them, but often it will be that a parent or a support worker or a carer will read out the information to them. So I think of writing the words so that they would make sense if someone was reading them out loud to somebody. I think that's important. I think quite often it is like that. It's someone reading it to them.
Okay. Okay, great. طيب, I'm wondering, do you think that what we have to do to keep the Easyread documents available everywhere, what we have to do to make it like a daily thing that we do it every day? You know what I mean? Yeah. What kind of effort that or initiatives that we have to do as people who work with people with disabilities to make Easyread available everywhere? Yeah.
So I think it'd be useful for each team of people to maybe think about what information that they would produce in Easyread. So if you were running a service, maybe a housing service or a daycare service, or to work out what information people would need in Easyread, and start building up within their service some information that could be used. Often information, leaflets or information, they don't need to last for very long, so you don't need to be kept forever. It may be about an event that's coming up, or some issue that's coming up, and they need some, provide some information about. So it's like any information; it doesn't last forever, but it's useful whilst it's there.
Okay. Does that help? I have another question actually. Do you think that we need, since the Easyread is like a new concept in a way, so do you think that we need to train persons with disabilities how to use easy, or how to read easy reading documents, and how we can do that, and from which age, let's say?
That's an interesting question, very interesting question, because my background has been with adults. I haven't, in the UK, services for children are very separate to services for adults. So, and I've only ever worked with adults.
Yeah, but they need to be prepared to read the easy read documents.
They do,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but how we can do that? It's just like the similar, do you think that it's the similar thing that we are doing with the normal reading, or we need to give them easy read documents from young age or for young
I think in the UK, the written material for young people is usually an easy language. So you would write it in a different way if you're writing for a 5-year-old to a 15-year-old to a 25-year-old, I think. You'd use different language in that. So I think there are differences there. Yeah. I think within Easy Read, it's worth, because one of the things is that what's really helped Easy Read to develop is for having groups of people with learning disabilities asking for Easy Read and wanting it, demanding it. And so having people's awareness of it as a concept from an early age is quite good, so that they will be asking for, where's the Easy Read version of this, you know? Don't give me this complicated thing, I can't read it, I want the Easy Read version, please.
أكثر فاعلية. هذا يساعد أيضا القراءة المبسطة على النمو والتطور.
With the whole procedure of producing easy read documents. I mean, do you think that we can do it without keeping them involved in this procedure? We can give them the easy read documents as it is and yalla, deal with it. As simple as that, or something else?
I think you can. I think you can involve people in it. The best way is for checking, I think, checking that it is actually accessible. I think that works the best. But some people who maybe, with people with learning disabilities who can use computers, maybe could choose pictures to put into Easy Read documents and drag them in. Some people can do that, I think. It's not necessarily easy, and it might be time consuming to do that. But it might be worth trying, I think.
Okay. طيب, I'm so glad that you are here with us today, and I'll be so glad also to see you tomorrow. In our forum. Now I think I will speak in Arabic just to invite everyone for our event tomorrow and to thank you. Maybe we can finish this session for today. طيب أنا بنحب أشكركم من مدينة الشارقة للخدمات الإنسانية على مشاركتكم في أولى ورش ملتقى المنال القراءة المبسطة والأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة أو الإعاقة. بنحب نأكد إنه مشاركتكم اليوم ممكن تحصلوا فيها على شهادة من خلال تسجيلكم في الرابط أو تواصلكم مع الأستاذ هشام حسب المعلومات اللي موجودة في الشات. وممكن أيضاً تشاركونا في ورش اليوم. بنحب نأكد إنه كل ورشة اليوم في لها شهادة مستقلة، ومشاركة غداً في الملتقى راح تكون في لها شهادة واحدة. الملتقى غدا راح يكون من الساعة 10 للساعة 2 وراح يشارك معنا السيد مارتن ومجموعة كبيرة من المتحدثين والمتحدثات من دول العالم، من مختلف دول العالم الحقيقة. وفي مجموعة يعني بدي أحكي لكم إنه هم مجموعة متميزة جدا وفريدة جدا، فراح يكون كتير جميل وكتير لطيف إنكم أنتم تشاركوا معنا بكرة إن شاء الله في تمام الساعة 10. بحب أكد إنه إحنا في عنا ورشتين اليوم. في عنا ورشة ثانية عن الكتب المصورة حتقدمها سيدة كولت باليت من هولندا أو الأراضي المنخفضة حسب المسمى الجديد تبعها. وكمان في طبعا ورشة الكتب المصورة راح تبدأ الساعة 1 بتوقيت الإمارات، 1 ظهرا بتوقيت الإمارات. وفي عندي ورشة أنا محمد المبسطة، راح يكون في عندي ورشة اسمها الكتب الدامجة Inclusive Books، راح تكون الساعة 5 مساء بتوقيت الإمارات. بتقدروا تستخدموا نفس الرابط للدخول لهذه الورش، بتقدروا تستخدموا نفس الرابط للدخول للملتقى بكره. مرة ثانية إذا حبيتوا تحصلوا على الشهادات بتقدروا تحصلوا على الشهادات من خلال تسجيلكم على بالمعلومات اللي المبينة أو بالطرق المبينة. من فضلكم أنا بكون كتير 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 ممنونكم إذا بتقدروا تقيموا الورشة من خلال الرابط الموجود في الشات الآن. هو موجود الآن في الشات. إذا بتقيموا هذه الورشة راح أكون جدا 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 ممنونكم. هذا هو رابط التقييم. تمام، فرجاء قيموا معنا الورشة. الرابط تبع الورش ورابط المشاركة أو رابط الزوم الخاص بالمشاركة أو الدخول للورش والدخول للملتقى موجود على إيميلاتكم. إذا سجلتوا، إذا ما سجلتوا سجلوا عشان تاخذوا الإيميل مباشرة. وبحب أشكركم جميعا مرة ثانية. إذا ما عندكم أي أسئلة للسيد مارتن إحنا ممكن ننهي هذه الجلسة، بس إذا في عندكم أسئلة أنا برأيي استغلوا السيد مارتن للنهاية. يعني السيد مارتن موجود وأعتقد إنه هي فرصة كتير عظيمة إنه هو موجود معنا اليوم. والحقيقة عشان أكون صادق معاكم السيد مارتن جاي دائما مشغول وأنا يعني بكون كتير سعيد لما بيكون في عنده وقت إنه يشارك معنا في جلساتنا. يعني بحب أستغل الفرصة بشكل كبير. طيب سيد محمد رح نرجع نبعث لك الرابط. سيد هشام من فضلك في ناس سجلوا ما حصلوا على الرابط، إذا ممكن تبعث لهم إياه على الإيميلات. بس أرجو إنكم تتأكدوا أنتم إنه كاتبين الإيميل بطريقة سليمة عشان يوصلكم الرابط، لأنه أحيانا ممكن تكون المشكلة بتسجيل الإيميل نفسه، فرجاء نسجل الإيميل. هذا الرابط بعته الأستاذ أوكي، نبعث لكم الرابط الآن مرة ثانية. هاي الرابط موجود. طيب thank you Mr. Martin. Thank you a lot for your time. I don't know if you heard what I said in Arabic actually. I was saying that you need to use Mr. Martin since he is available with us today because you are very busy. It's not easy actually to get or to find time to meet you. So I'm really happy that you are here with us today, and I'm really happy that you will be with us tomorrow as well. And I'm really happy for the cooperation with you. It's really amazing thing. And thank you again for being our guest, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for everyone. Thank you, and see you in the coming workshop. Thank you, Mr. Martin, and see you.
I'll see you tomorrow then, Mohammed. Yeah.
See you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.